You're listening to the One Step Deeper podcast with your host, Jimmy Moore and Brittany Davis. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com.
When you got that shirt, you posted it on, or you might have sent it to me first and said, "Hey, check out what I just got." And then you posted it on Instagram, and I was like, "Yeah, that's a Brittany shirt." Show everybody what kindness, peace. Stand up a little bit. See what
I have
else.
so many notes in my lap. Hold on. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Okay. So it says kindness, peace, equality, love, inclusion, hope, and diversity.
Very nice.
Yes. It has almost all of my core values on it.
That is definitely a Brittany shirt. So very well done. Very well done. And you did your hair up nice today. I think going to a wedding last weekend, you were inspired.
Well, I was going to do my hair for the wedding and I didn't have time to because I'm supposed to do just the bride's makeup and end up doing her hair and makeup and other people.
So you did it for our show instead of a wedding. We're so Do you know what else you did?
Oh, what else did I do?
You wrote a book.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Guys, literally, as of the recording of this, today, got the proofs in the mail. And this is the copy. It's a hardback copy. It's so beautiful. And it's just like Brittany and I could not be more proud of this. She doesn't know this. I'm about to reveal it on the air, but I just mailed you a copy in the mail. So it's supposed to be there as of the recording tomorrow by the end of the day is what they said. So fingers crossed on that. But yes, guys, One Step Deeper Journal, the foundations, go to onestepdeeperjournal.com. And we actually have a splash page is what they call, or it's just a still page. You can put in your name and email. And as soon as it's available for purchase, we will send you a link to Amazon so you can buy it. But we're just days away. There were a few minor cosmetic things that we had to fix. But this thing, this is what I was hoping we could have when we envisioned writing a book called One Step Deeper Journal.
I'm desperately trying not cry, guys, because I have only seen it through video. This is, we've had proof copies come in and I was super disappointed and there were tears, but for other reasons.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy messaged me this morning. He's like, "Are you awake? I need to show you." And I was like, okay. And honestly, after we got off the phone call, I was very teary and just seeing it here on the podcast, I'm just like, this was the reaction that I had always hoped for. And I'm sure when it comes in the mail, I will do you a favor, Jimmy. I will wait and I'll video call you so you can see my reaction when I open it.
I want to see your reaction when you're holding it in your hands, because I was like, when I saw it and where it was from, I'm like, please be good, please be good, please be good, please be good. And then I opened it and I saw this beautiful thing. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, celebrating. Sorry, guys. A little spontaneous on the air. We're very proud of this book, and we can't wait to get it in your hands very soon. But we got a podcast to record today. Get yourself together, Brittany.
I'm trying.
So episode 63 here today. You can't go one step deeper without
Critical thinking.
And of course, immediately when we started talking about this, I was like, well, wait a minute. One Step Deeper tends to be more kind of on the emotional side of things, and yet critical thinking is less emotional, more rationality. So I'm interested in hearing how you fuse together the dichotomy between the emotion and the cognitive, but we've already gone 4 minutes in, and I haven't even introduced the show yet. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com is the website. Go check us out, you guys. A wonderful place to get all things OSD, as we call it. So go check out, listen to past episodes. You can also watch them there. We have the videos embedded. Sunday, at 4 p.m. Eastern time. See, I'm still excited. I got all these things swirling.
Me too.
4 p.m. Eastern time Sundays. It debuts on YouTube. Just type in a keyword search, One Step Deeper. And by the way, guys, go over there. and reserve your spot. Like, go ahead and say, yeah, waiting to watch. So that way, it'll notify you and give you a push notification that it's ready to go. Sometimes people get busy on the weekends and they forget. But we have a nice core group. Thank you guys watching on YouTube Live on Sundays at 4 p.m. We do also simulcast it over on Facebook as well as on Instagram. So go check those things out as well. Monday, it is a traditional podcast. Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Alexa, all the ways that you can listen to the show. And of course, leave us a review. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you can write out a review. And then on Spotify, leave us a star rating. We really appreciate all of the support. And yes, book, book, book. I know we have teased this. It feels like we've teased this forever. And we have. But it's here, guys. Very, very, very soon. One Step Deeper Journal, The Foundations. I'm literally holding the version of the book that you will have in your hands very soon. OneStepDeeperJournal.com. Go ahead and go right there right now, and you can go and sign up. And then once the book is available, then that'll be the click-through link to go get the book, learn a little bit more about the book, all that stuff. So we are excited. But here, episode 63 today. Come back in. Episode 63 today, let's talk about that dichotomy, because what we do here ain't thinking types of things all the time. Yes, there's a little bit, but a lot of it is reframing kind of how you feel about things and I guess your reactions to things and beliefs about things. That's a little bit of thinking, but it's a lot of feeling. And then cognitive thinking skills. I mean, this is critical thinking skills. This is like all brain. There's no emotion in critical thinking, at least there shouldn't be. So how do you marry the two?
Right. Yeah, I guess that is kind of, I didn't even think about the fact that I have done this for years. Like, this is what I have done, is merge critical thinking and then emotional thinking. And so I am an emotional person. I do the emotion thing every single day. That's what I talk about all the time.
I have heard you're an emotional person.
Yes. And I find no problem in the emotion that I have. But what I try to do when I'm in that emotional state, I say, okay, I'm allowed to feel all of my feelings, but let's pull it down one step deeper and let's go to the critical thinking of it. Why am I feeling this way? Where did this feeling come from? Is there something in my past that's bringing this up? Is there something in my present that's bringing these emotions so heightened? Like, what is it? And so then I began to piece it apart, and that's the critical thinking of it, of, yeah, that's it. That's where it is, of like, yes, you have the emotions, feel the feelings. I'm all for that. That's amazing. But once you can pull it down to that deeper level and begin to critically think of where are these emotions coming from.
I get it now. That makes so much sense, that people, they stay stuck in their emotions and they can't go one step deeper because when you're emotional, it can overcome you and take you over. Whereas in the midst of that emotion, wanting to go one step deeper, it literally makes you go, stop, hammer time. No, it makes you go, stop, and go, okay, think this through a little. And that makes so much sense, that it's not a dichotomy. It literally, it's the way you go deeper, like we're talking about here today. And I love that. Like, I never even thought about, as I was going through my own one step deeper journey, personal growth journey, that the reason I've been able to get there is I am a critical thinker, and I have someone who prods me to think more critically, and challenges me on belief systems. Are you sure you believe that? Is that what you believe, or is that what you were told? And it's like, oh, got to think on that one a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, crap, Brittany, you're right. That isn't me. That's what I learned from my dad. That's what I learned from this person, that person. And so you have room for both.
Yeah, absolutely. I call it the pause moment. And you've probably heard me do this on the phone with the girls, where they're just all emotionless, just screaming, and I can't help them in that state. There's nothing that I can do. And I said, okay, let's pause, take a deep breath. And Alma Grace is the best one. Like, Alma Grace listens to these cues. I guess it's because she's always been gentle parented, whereas the other two had some of the previous parenting strategies. But like, I was like, okay, let's calm, let's pause. And then I'll ask them a question that requires them to critically think. Why are you crying? Why are you emotional? And now it's helping me to help them decipher, because they are children, and so their critical thinking skills are still in their baby stages. But that's literally what I do. I have this book here. I've showed it before, and definitely on my Instagram, Raising Critical Thinkers. Now this goes more like knowledge based, of like reading a book and how to think about. Julie Bogart is the author, and I love her. I am using her curriculum this year for the new school year. So excited. But the way she goes about it, like, yes, she's talking about information and when you're reading a book, but also that's applicable across long term. I want my children to be able to go one step deeper of why they are feeling what they are feeling. Camberly, my oldest, has the most critical thinking skills, and she can come to me and go, wow, Mom, I just feel really tired today. And I'm like, okay, why are you tired? Did you sleep? Did you not go to sleep? Like, what is it? She's like, oh no, I'm just kind of sad today. And then I'll go with, okay, well, why are you feeling sad? And so these are things that I do with her as her parent that adults should be able to do on their own, but they don't. It's insane to me to watch grown adults not be able to critically think through, I'm tired. Well, why are you tired? Well, I'm tired because I'm sad. And then, okay, why are you sad? Like, they can't do that.
But think about it. That makes total sense. If you're not taught it like a wonderful mom that Brittany is, and Wildman as the dad, if you're not teaching your kids these things, why do we expect kids to grow up into adults? It's almost as if you go 18 out of the house and suddenly all these things that you learned as a kid, you're just supposed to unlearn them just overnight. No, you know what you know. Your girls, and I brag on you all the time, your girls are going to they may give you hell at teenage years, but they're going to so revere you in hindsight and go, wow, Mom, you weren't just cool. You weren't just like teaching us things. You were way ahead of the curve. I think the way that you do it with your girls, it's the dream of what you wished you had as a kid that you did not have. And look, here you are 30 years old turning this year, and you're just getting to the point where you can think critically in ways to help you go one step deeper over these past few years. Early 20s, Brittany, couldn't do it because you weren't ready to critically think. You were still in your anger mode and your lashing out mode and your emotional mode. And a lot of people live their entire lives. And this is why we created the show, you guys. This is why we wrote this book, you guys. We want to break you out of the mold of feeling like you can't ever go one step deeper because you stay stuck and mired in the molasses of your emotions.
Yes.
It's literally like quicksand molasses, and you're just sinking further and further. And what we're trying to do is say, open your mind, critically think. Realize that there are better ways of doing things than you are. Yeah, there's so many things we can do if we just stop and thought things through. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but
I love it. Thought things through. I love it. And I love that you're having that. Like, I've been here, and we've done this kind of together personally within our friendship, and then we're like, all right, we're going to bring this to everybody else. And also, I love the fact that, see, what you guys don't know is this very podcast was supposed to be recorded a while ago, but it got pushed, and it got pushed. I love that the book has come out today, that we have it, that Jimmy has it in hand today, because this topic, critical thinking, is what is required to do the One Step Deeper journal. You have to be able to critically think, and the way what are you doing? You're distracting me. We are in a silly mood today, guys. But what you have to do is, once you read the section, you'll see, once you get your copy, you read the section, and then there's some questions. And these questions aren't anything telling you what to do. The questions literally pose you these critical thinking moments of, you go one step deeper. You take this, you take what you just read and apply it. And that's part of the critical thinking skills, is being able to get new information and see what is applicable to your life, because every single journal entry may not be for you. There may be parts of it that's for somebody else. You still should read it, and you still should go through the critical thinking part, but then there might be some journal entries that slap you in the face and you're like, whoa, I need to sit on this one because that's tough, because that's what critical thinking is. It's deliberate thinking, not autopilot thinking. It's deliberately slow and deliberate and logical thinking versus fast, reactive, and emotional. That's the goal.
Look, I feel like slow, methodical is always going to be preferred over quick. Think of every scenario in your mind where that could apply. Slow and methodical versus fast and quick and done with. I'm going to leave that right there. But anyway, but it does apply in a lot of things, like weight loss journey. Like, you don't want it to be the fast and quick thing. Oh, I need to lose 50 pounds in 50 days. No, you want it to be slow and methodical and healthy and da-da-da-da. See, what were you thinking? You were thinking something else.
Oh man, we are in some kind of mood today. This book is out and it's from us.
I was going to say, we don't get this giddy when we just personally talk, much less on the airs. All right, so let's talk about some of the concepts in that book. Bless you. Some of the concepts that you've learned in the book that you're teaching your kids that could apply to this today. Talk about some of those things, how to critically think, because a lot of people don't know. Let's give a little quick primer.
In the book that I'm reading, so this is more of like for the parent, and then you can apply the skills with your children. And then the course that we start our school year kind of wonky than everybody else. We're done with this school year, and we'll start our new school year probably in May. She has it broken down in different age groups. So like for the 5 to 9 age group, once you read a book together, then after that, you'll kind of prompt them of saying, tell me about the book and tell me who wrote the book. Tell me the point of view. And like, point of view might not be a really great word for a 5-year-old.
Right.
So you can ask them something like, who do you think is telling this story? Whereas later on, she goes to like the 13 to 15-year-olds and you ask them harder questions of who's the author of this story? Not who wrote the book. Who's telling the story in the book? Is it a character? Is this character telling the story from their point of view? Does their point of view skew the story being told? And I'm like, yes, yes, it's so important because, yes, they're learning it through knowledge in this manner in a book, but they can apply that to everything in their life.
Yes, and like I watched Young Sheldon. I know we talk about Big Bang Theory a lot, and you just recently got into Young Sheldon. And the voiceover is Jim Parsons, who's playing Sheldon Cooper, telling the story of his childhood. And there's been a few episodes where this point of view thing came into play because they'll be showing like what happened. And then the Sheldon Cooper as an adult doing the voiceover says, well, that's how I remember it. And
yes.
His point of view. So you have to remember everything happening is through the eyes and the memory of his point of view.
And that's so important. And I wanted to talk about this. I have to be a little tactful because this is a situation that's going on in my life. And I don't want to name names, but someone that I have been in the past close with. We're recalling the same information differently. And what we're both recalling happened 15 years ago. And I have my own basis of how I've critically thought through, this is what happened, this is how it affected me, I have all of this. And then they're on the other side going, but no, this is what happened to me because I believe this is what happened. And so we both kind of got to this point, and I was like, all right, we can't get any further. And this is what happens in critical thinking when you're dealing with these situations with other human beings. You get to a certain point where one side's got to be willing to open up, but when you don't have another, when you're arguing in this manner, and it's not even like scary arguing, guys, like this is just, once you've gotten to that point, you can't help each other go any further in your thinking because somebody's not being open-minded. You have to reach out for other sources. And I couldn't find another source because I was really concerned that the way in which I was remembering the events that had happened was wrong. And I was like, I need to know if it's wrong because this has literally changed my life.
Well, and especially since you were in the midst of the trauma brain will make you remember things that may or may not happen. Plus all the gaslighting telling you, oh, that's not what you really saw. That's not what you really believed. And so you kind of question, was it, what was it not? Especially when you were at that young of an age, but you got verification from somebody.
Yeah, because I had decided and determined that this other person was not going to go any deeper. They weren't going to search out any other truth, that their truth was the absolute truth. And for me, it wasn't good enough for me because I do have these critical thinking skills and I want to go one step deeper. I want to make sure the way in which I remember these events that changed my life. It is this one thing that happened that we're kind of on has literally destroyed relationships because this is what happened. And so I want to make sure I'm remembering it correctly. So I went to an outside source and I was literally just kind of venting to this person. I was like telling them what was going on. They're a really close friend of mine. And she was like, I was there. And I was like, oh my gosh, you were there. She's like, yes, what happened is from your point of view is what happened. And I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you. And this person knows both sides, by the way. This is not, she's impartial. She knows both sides. She's not.
She does love you.
She does love me. Yeah, she does love me, but she does know both sides and she's known both of the, and so having the outside, so this is another thing with critical thinking, guys, when you're in these situations, whatever it is, if you can't go deeper on your own, try to find somebody that can look at it from a different perspective. I do this with Jimmy. I do this with Wildman. I'm so emotionally tied up. I'm like, all right, I need a friend. I need my husband. I need somebody close to me that can be on the outside who cares about me and so knows why I'm so emotional, but can be on the outside of it going, hey, have you thought about this way? And oftentimes I haven't because I'm super emotional. And then that will, oh, okay, let's critically think. There we go. There's an angle. Let's go a little bit deeper. And it gets me out of that habitual thinking. And it gets me into that, okay, let's slow it down. Let's calm the emotion. Let's think. I just did a reel. I hope you put it in here. I just did a reel talking about people don't think.
You should never worry about what other people think. They don't do it very often.
That's the thing. Quit worrying about what people think because people don't think. And it's just really true. They don't.
Take supplements and wonder if they're doing anything for you? Specifically, do you know your mineral levels? Wouldn't it be great if you knew what you were absorbing, what you are not absorbing or have too little of, and what you have too much of? All of this seems very complicated, but it's really very simple. Thanks to our friends at Upgraded Formulas, they have a very special upgraded hair test kit, which will test your minerals and other things in your hair, and you get a consultation with it as well to see exactly which minerals you are most deficient in. Upgraded Formulas has a stabilized nano minerals technology. I've been telling you about their magnesium that's been helping me with my sleep. Now they have a full line of products along with this upgraded hair test kit that you need to find out what your mineral content is. Again, upgradedformulas.com and you can get 15% off of your entire order using the coupon code Jimmy at checkout. Upgraded Formulas.
No, they don't, because it's easier to just stay in your emotions and live there. I know lots of people, they do. They stay in their emotions. They live there. They don't want to go one step deeper. Or I think back to my childhood and my trauma with my dad. His isn't necessarily an expression of emotion. It's an emotionless emotion, if that makes sense. I'm gonna coin a new phrase. Emotionless is an emotion. You're choosing not to feel anything, but you're also not thinking at all either. My dad is the king of emotionless emotion. He can refuse to go one step deeper because he won't let himself go there. It's too painful. And he's at the age where he doesn't really care. That's why he checked out. That's why I had to check out on him, because I can't be around somebody that did what he did to me, number one. But then number two, he's not growing. He has no intention of growing, like your example from your life. This other person in your life will never go one step deeper. So how do you kind of reconcile that? They won't cognitively think it through because it's too painful to admit what the truth is in both of them.
And let me tell you something, guys. When you begin to critically think and you have those skills and you run into these people who are not open-minded and not willing to critical think, their reactions almost in themselves are a gut punch, but because you can critically think, you can think it through, and so it should be okay. Like Jimmy mentioned, my brother had gotten married over the weekend, and I had a family member who was there completely ignore me. I mean, would not look at me, wouldn't look at Wildman, wouldn't look at the kids. And I was floored at the reaction from this human being. Like, even like if I wasn't related to you, as a human being, to just anytime I would come, they would just like, whoa, wow, what did I do? And then I realized this has nothing to do with me. I have gotten to the point in my life where I critically think everything. And they're hearing a one-sided story and they've applied it, and they can't think in their mind and go, hey, she's probably upset for maybe a good reason. Maybe I should figure out that reason. And instead she just goes, bam, I'm not talking to them.
And this isn't a young person either. This is someone who should be of the age where little petty shit like that doesn't need to come into play. But that's some petty shit what she did to you guys.
And again, I'm sitting here smiling about it because I understand it's not my problem. It may seem like my problem because it involves me, but that's that person's burden to bear, to carry.
Well, it did bother you because the kids involved, but other than that, it wouldn't have bothered you two fucks because you're doing the work and you do step deeper. You cognitively think, but this person, yeah, they have their reasons, and it's not really a concern of yours at that point.
No, it's not. And believe me, like, don't mess with my kids. Like, I don't care what you do to me, and Wildman can take care of himself. But like, don't mess with my kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming through. Like, Mama Bear will come up. But thankfully, like, they weren't overly rude to the kids. They just, their other kids that were around the area. Right. This person like went out of their way to be there and just ignored my kids. But my kids barely know them to begin with, so.
Well, the good news for you is you got a big ass family. If 2 or 3 of them are weirdos that don't cognitively think and think deeply, go one step deeper, they're not missing much because they got plenty of love from everybody else.
Yes, and that is actually very, very, very true. But yes, it was odd. It was odd, but at the same time, I understood. And that's what I was saying earlier. It's like when you begin to critically think, don't be surprised if the people around you who can't or don't and won't. There's a difference in can't and then won't, okay? Because you can be smart enough and intelligent enough to critically think, but you just refuse to because of biases, and just confirmation bias, and like you have a thought and you only search out information that aligns with your thought instead of looking at other information. That's a problem. And so this is kind of what's happening in that family dynamic that I'm talking about. These people have a certain belief and they won't go to the other side of it and look for the other side. They only look for information that aligns with what they currently believe. That's not critical thinking, guys. That I'm telling you, even if it's painful, even if you don't want to hear it, in order to critical think, you have to be open-minded to an opposite view of what you currently have.
And that requires humility, vulnerability, the right to know that you might be wrong about something. Look, you and I have had those conversations where both sides, on various issues, we've had to admit, oh, damn, yeah, that wasn't so right. And look, we're both very stubborn, strong-willed people. So it's like, for us to break through that. But because we go one step deeper, because we are both critical thinkers, helps with that. Because if you can lay aside your own ego, a lot of people can't, but if you can lay aside your ego, be humble, be vulnerable with someone else who, by the way, also is humble and vulnerable. This is a key to make sure who you're talking to, because this person that ignored you and your whole family, they no way that person's going one step deeper on anything.
you have to be, we're talking about open-mindedness, you have to be willing constantly to have your own beliefs questioned. And this is a problem I get into with a lot of family members who are religious. And I have nothing against religion. Please don't take that, guys. I just want people to apply critical thinking skills within religion as well. And within learning, within schooling, within everything, apply critical thinking skills.
Well, religion actually, and I'm just going to say it out loud, it's true. They say throw out critical thinking. They say just believe in faith. And look, if you're a person of faith, great. Like, just know that's cool when it comes to your religion. But in the real world, you can't just say, well, I just give it all to some higher being and then never really think those things through. You can't go one step deeper if you do that. Like, I think you can both honor your religion and at the same time, but so many people that have faith go, well, I just give it all to the person above. And it's like, oh, okay, but do you feel better with that trauma you went through? Do you still have the pain? Well, yeah, but it's going to get taken care of because I gave it up. I let go and I let God. And it's like, at what point do you actually heal yourself doing that? And again, this is not mocking religion. This is letting you think on this subject of, you got to think through things. Yes, you can still believe, but God also gave you a brain to think things through. So use it in combination with that. But so many people, they just, well, I'm just letting it go. Oh, well, it's washed and it's all gone, and it's not gone. It's just there covered up with this faux blanket of sorts that's just not really yep, still there. You lift up the blanket, yep, still there, still see it, still smell it, but it's there. It doesn't go anywhere.
We did 2 really hard episodes a while back about religious stuff. And, if you're open, you can obviously go listen to those episodes. And I've calmed down. I was a little reactionary in that because I have religious trauma. And so you could probably listen to the episodes, and Jimmy does too. You can listen to the episodes and hear our pain coming out through that, because we are still human. No matter how much we critically think, we are still human and we have emotions. But what happened to me, of why I'm telling you, if you are a religious person, please add in critical thinking, because it wasn't until I began to think through all the trauma that happened to me and pull away the religious gaslighting of, oh, you just haven't given it to God enough. And I'm like, but I have. I've tried to let it go. I've tried. But the thing is, you can't let being molested go. Like, you have to do hard work. You have to go critical thinking skills. You have to think of the other person that did that to you, why they did that to you, why. And then you have to realize in why they did that to you, it has shit to do with you. I had to get to the point that had nothing to do with me. And just like looking at the pile that was in my hand and going, hey, please take this. It didn't work. It didn't work for me. Maybe it works for some people, but I was like, here. And it didn't, like, I still had all the pain and all the guilt and all of that stuff I had to deal with. And so there was a point where I had both religion and critical thinking at the same time. And I'm like, maybe this will work. And, I've taken a different path, and I am very supportive of whatever path people take. Go you. I'm happy for you. Have your faith. Believe in God. Believe in your higher power. Believe in what you believe in. But please don't take your religion and cover over this pain, cover over relationship problems, cover over being molested or beaten, or don't cover over your trauma with religion, because it doesn't work that way. Take those critical thinking skills that we're talking about today, dig deeper into all of those reasons, and then be thankful that you have your religion to fall into when it becomes hard.
And look, I think this is a great thing that we brought up here within this episode, as she downs the last of her rain. This is a great topic, because I feel like there are a lot of Christians who don't talk out loud, specifically Christians that I know, who don't talk out loud about the pain they still have of things that happened to them, because Jesus is supposed to cover that pain. And that's great and all if it was true. Has Has it helped you? Or do you suffer in silence because, oh, well, I don't want to tell people I'm still in pain because they'll think I don't have enough faith, and they'll think that, all this. And I just hate that. Societally, we deserve better. We deserve thinking. And I think in churches, they need to be more open to talking about, hey, let's think things through. If you went through things, let's talk about those things. Now, they do have like recovery, like Celebrate Recovery is a big program within the church world to help people that have issues with alcohol, and doing it through kind of a religious thing. And they don't just say, just give it up. They give them practical tips and help them think things through.
You're right.
Trauma. Why can't we do that with other things? If the church is going to be the church as they claim, then why can't we have critical thinking be a part of the discussion as well as just believe in faith? I think the two can marry.
They can, just like you were saying very early on, of how can you emotions and critical thinking, how does it go together? They can go together. And of course, I'm the person on the outside screaming, going, please, we can fix this together. And I just get shut down because, nope, give it to Jesus. And I'm like, but it can be both. Can it be both? Can it be both? And so, yes, you can tell, guys, I still have a little bit of internal work that I need to do in that area. I am working on, though, taking my critical thinking skills, and I'm digging through the things that I've been told and the things that I believe.
All right, let's get off of religion, Brittany, because we could talk about that the whole episode. You see, 2 episodes was not enough, guys. We could have done 10 episodes probably just on that one. But again, no disrespect to people of faith. You believe what you believe, and believe it to the hilt. Just think when you do it. But let's get back into this, because we talk about, and the title of this show and the title of our book all have one step deeper. What do you do with those people who say, well, critical thinking just sounds too painful, sounds too hard? How do we get them on that bandwagon? Because they might have listened to all of our episodes, Brittany. They might go through the entire 40-day journal. I'll cry if you go through our journal and you don't change, and not change because they're not putting their brain into action. They're not kind of going, oh, crap, I do believe that way. And what? Oh, crap. And that's the thinking part. That's the oh crap part of you kind of realizing things only comes because your noggin is engaged.
Critical thinking is not easy, and it is not without pain. And there will come a time in critical thinking, if you're doing it the right way, I hate saying it that way, there will be a time when you have to pause, that something will gut punch you, you will realize something. I have had several of these moments where I'm just like sitting in awe of moments. I had a moment like that recently with Dad. I say recently, quite a few months ago now, where he kind of dropped a bomb on me, and I had to apply the new information, which is important. Critical thinking requires you to be open-minded to new information constantly. And so the new information that I gathered, I had to apply it to all the things back here that I thought I had worked through. So now I have to go back to square one and work it again. And I'm just like, what in the world?
Well, and see what it did. It opened up going one step even deeper than you had gone before. And look, the same thing happened to me in September of 2019 when my stepfather died, and I went to visit my mom, and we were talking about just life stuff. And I got a bomb dropped by her on me about the narrative I had in my head that I'd gone one step deeper trying to figure out. And then I dropped a bomb on her that she didn't know about either. So we're just like both just, what do we do? Like we were both like in tears, stunned. But then because of that, and because I processed it and critically thought it through and everything, all right, well, dang. Now that makes this, and this make a lot more sense, where it was just hanging before. And now I can close this, and this that I thought was a certain way, and it wasn't that certain way. And so you kind of rewire your brain. It all starts, though, with you engaging that brain first.
Yes. Earlier when I said I had notes in my lap, like, y'all, I'm not kidding. Like, I printed out things because critical thinking does require a little bit of, like, schooling, papers, the stuff that makes me happy. But like this is one of them that it literally goes through the different steps that you go through with critical thinking. And this one kind of breaks it down a little bit more simple. I'm going to use this one with my girls probably today because I was excited.
Go over it now. That second one looked really interesting, the kind of steps.
Yeah, the second. So 6 steps. First is knowledge. So you're defining, you're identifying, describing, recognizing, telling. So that's what you're describing with your mom, that there was actual a tell, or there's now knowledge, and now you got to figure out what to do. The second one is understand. And so we're summarizing and interpreting this information that we just got, and we're classifying it, comparing it, inferring, making all those kind of things that you learn in science class, all of those things. And number 3, this is where you go into application. So you're solving problems, you're changing anything about your mindset or things that you believed. You're relating, you're using whatever information you have, discovering new things, transferring. That's step 3. Step 4 is you're analyzing. So again, you go back to contrasting, connecting, what?
Analyzing is where you start going one step deeper.
Yes, there it is. And you correlate, illustrate. These are some of the words here. You conclude, you take apart, which is my favorite. You start peeling the pieces apart when you're analyzing. Number 5, you're evaluating. So you're criticizing, you're reframing, you're judging, you're defending, you're valuing what is valuable. I've talked about this before. Once you take the pieces apart and pick, okay, this is valuable information to me. I don't really need this. This is the throwing away part. Evaluating and reframing your mind. They actually put reframe on here twice. I think that's important. They meant reframe that thought.
Well, think about it. You initially reframe based on the initial knowledge, but then as you analyze, you may need to reframe because you thought things through kind of in different ways. There's little tentacles that go out from that. That makes sense that you would do that twice.
The wait is almost over. The One Step Deeper Journal, The Foundations, written by Jimmy Moore and Brittany Davis, is set to release any day now. Head on over to onestepdeeperjournal.com and type in your name and email address, and as soon as it's available for purchase, we will let you know. onestepdeeperjournal.com.
Right. And then at the last point, you're now at the create stage. And this other, I think I like the simpler one better in the wording than the other one. But in the create stage, you're now designing. Now that you have new information, you're now designing your new view, your new thoughts. You're modifying, developing, rewriting, pivot. That's one of my favorite words. You probably don't know why, do you? From Friends when Ross is on the steps and he's trying to get his couch up the stairs and he's like, pivot.
Yeah, well, come on, up. Yes. Oh. Here we go. Pivot. 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 Pivot.
Yes, I'm aware of the cultural reference, but again, another Friends. Last time I put Friends reference in here, we got copyright claimed on my video.
I did a very good job of explaining what happened, and my fellow Friends fans will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you don't have to put it in there.
Pivot. Yes, I know.
Pivot. Yes. So, and yes, you're collaborating, you're modifying, all of that. So these are like the 6 steps. I love this little info thing. I might just have to post it on my page because it's very good to go through all of these different steps.
Or send me the image and I'll put it right here so everybody can see.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Yeah. So going one step deeper requires this critical thinking. And we've talked now the whole episode all about this, trying to get people to get there. What do you do with those people who are reticent to the change? Like this person earlier you talked about, that you want to go one step deeper with them, but they won't critically think. They're stuck. Oh, by the way, they're kind of a religious fanatic too. So that is kind of evidence of what we were talking about earlier. How do you go there? Or do you have to just resign yourself to there will be some people who will never?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's where you have to take your skills that you have. You got to take the knowledge that they probably will never change. And then you have to understand why they'll never change. Then you have to apply all that knowledge that you have and analyze. And then you have to get to the point where, what are you going to do in this relationship? So I have a relationship where I know the likelihood of this person ever going one step deeper is it's most likely not there. I would like to keep the tiniest bit of hope to think that one day they would be open to it. But the reality is they're probably not going to. And so now I have to ask myself the difficult question, am I willing to have a relationship with someone who refuses to do that?
But why don't they? Let's kind of dig into that a bit. The people that refuse to critically think, what is the reasoning? Why do you live in your emotion, in your faith, in your emotionless emotion? Like I mentioned earlier with my dad, why do people make that choice? Because to me, Brittany, that sounds like the much harder way to live your life than to think a little bit, grow from where you've been to be a better person. It seems like you'd be happier with the latter and you're miserable with the former.
So Alma Grace's sweet face comes to mind. I was sitting on the couch having a discussion with Wildman, and I kept saying that this person was in denial. And Alma Grace's sweet little 4-year-old self was like, Mom, what's in denial?
Uh-oh.
And I just see her little face, and so I described to her, a 4-year-old, what denial was. And I think one of the reasons people don't critically think is because it will change their view.
Yes.
And the things that they've attached themselves to, and because the things that they refuse to critically think through are their identity. And so if they begin to question these things that they believed and has not just believe, there are things that I believe, but that are not my identity. I'm still open to new information. If some new information is presented to me and it changes my thought, I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with admitting, hey, this way that I did it back here, oops, I didn't have all the information. I have new information. I have a new thought. That's easy for me. But I've done critical thinking skills for a long time now, whereas these people that are in my life that refuse, I know if they ask the initial question, the questions will never stop, which in my idea, yay, questions. I'm so excited. But for them, questions are scary because questions lead to questions, lead to questions, lead to questions.
And the questions are not a means to an end of finding knowledge and truth. The questions are to make you feel bad about how you believe. Yeah. And by the way, denial is not just another river in Egypt either. So my dad joke of the day.
Oh gosh.
Sorry, that's the oldest us, but I get that there. That's what I would have said to Alma Grace if she was my kid. Well, let me tell you about denial. It's not just another river in Egypt. And she'll be like, huh?
I love that joke. So that was great. That was incredible. Good job. Good job. No, great. But yes, I think, like I said, I asked a question 4 years ago when I began, and I threw everything out. I asked one question and it just exploded my mind. And the question was, hey, why do I believe that? And that just, because when I asked, why do I believe that here, I had to ask it here, 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 here. And then I was sitting going, holy shit. Everything I believe is because somebody told me to believe that way. But do I actually believe it? And so it's been a long journey of me piecing apart. Okay, somebody told me this. Do I believe this? It's literally been a daily thing of dealing with this, and the people that are in my life who are watching me do this, they keep telling me I'm going through a crisis. I'm like, I'm not in crisis. I feel like myself. I don't feel like a carbon copy of the people around me. I feel like me. But they don't understand because they've never done this.
Well, and if it becomes replicable in many areas, you kind of want to question and critically think every area of your life. I'm sure after about the second or third time you notice that, Brittany, you're like, wait a minute. How is every part of my life showing up in this way? Well, dang, like it shook your world, what you did. And look, I've done it a little more piecemeal than you did. I've talked about this. I didn't throw everything out. I just kind of went, okay, this. Okay, critically think, go one step deeper, 20 million steps deeper. All right, I think I'm good there. All right, this. Shit. Not again. And yeah, when you do it like that, it will open your eyes. And it's so necessary, though. Like, I know you guys that watch us and listen to us, you're trying this, and maybe you've been stuck. Maybe this episode is the one that finally opens your eyes about why this is so hard for you to go one step deeper. Critically think. And show that book again, the book that you've been this is a great resource if you want to learn how to do it, Raising Critical Thinkers. It's for parents to teach their kids, but I'm sure it has application that even you as an adult have learned from.
I'm only in like, let's see what page I'm on. I'm only at like 100 pages, and I am just like floored at the information. Like, I literally, guys, like, I have highlighted sections where it applies to me. Like literally, I highlighted who's telling the story, because it's important. Like, if you're reading a news article or you're reading something on Instagram and you're following somebody, you have to ask yourself the question, hey, they're telling this story. Are they telling it from their point of view? Are they telling it like literally, it's that simple. And I've applied it to all areas. And so, yeah, even though it does say Raising Critical Thinkers, remember, reparenting, you got to reparent yourself. Use this, apply to self.
Well, and think about like what happened the past couple of years, and people just automatically kind of believe things. They did that because they didn't critically think, and then they were told by authority figures, and this is how you're supposed to believe, and this is what you should do. And so people go, okay, without kind of the critical thinking, and couldn't go one step deeper in, is that true? Should I believe that carte blanche, or should I think it through? And then you start like trying to find new information, and it's like blocked from being able to be seen. Like, all those things kind of come into this discussion here. And I don't want to make it overtly about that, but that's an example of how the critical thinking can help you go one step deeper and make better choices as a result.
Yes, exactly. Which is why I'm very adamant to teach these kinds of skills to my children, even now at the very small, minuscule level, that when they are our age and they have all of these world things thrown at them, that they have the skills to ask these questions, the very basic, hey, who's telling this story? Who's telling me to believe this? Why do they believe this? Is there actual factual things? Was there a study? Was there research? Like, actually diving down, not just taking a website that says www.thisiswhatyousshouldbelieve.com
Right.
and going, oh, credible source. Yeah, probably not a credible source. Yeah. And for them to apply that long term. And us too. Credible sources is not just like online. That's not just what I'm talking about. I'm like, credible source, somebody telling you, oh, you're ugly. Am I though? And what is the credible? Are they credible? Them telling you that? You know, like, if Jimmy tells me something, I'm going to listen to Jimmy more than some rando on the internet, because they're not a credible source to me, because they don't know me. I don't know them. I know Jimmy. Jimmy knows me. Credible source. So keep that in mind too.
But I would never tell you you're ugly, so, because I don't think you are.
I was just using an inflammatory thing for a gut reaction.
I knew what you were doing. You're looking for the punch is what you were looking for.
Right.
So, yeah, wow. I love every part of what we did here in episode 63, because you really can't go one step deeper, you guys, unless you start applying these critical thinking skills. And so if you don't know how to do that, hopefully we gave you some tips to get started, but go learn more. Open your mind. And as Brittany has said on many episodes previously, just go down the rabbit hole of asking why. That's critical thinking 101. Why? Oh, you believe that? Why? Oh, this, why? And just keep asking why, and that lets you go one step deeper. When you mentioned that early episode, you mentioned that keep asking why thing. I didn't even think about that being critical thinking in action.
Yeah, it's the simplest of questions. 3 little letters. Why? Question mark. Just, that's it. It could be that simple. You can get more complicated, or you can just leave it. Hey, why? Hey, why? Hey, why? Be the 3-year-old who asks why 10 million times.
So you need to make a reel that It's like, why?
Yeah.
You be the why girl. That's what you need. You need a new
I'll be
brand.
the why girl.
The why girl.
Oh gosh.
So,
I don't want to be that.
my marketing brain never stops. I apologize.
Oh.
Take us home, my dear.
All right. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com is the website, guys. You can find all of the past episodes over there. And Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on YouTube. Jimmy, you mentioned something earlier, and I was like, you're right. You can do that, where you can reserve your spot. Right? I don't know much about that. I don't think I've ever done that, but you can apparently reserve your spot, and it'll notify you when it comes up, and that's the first place you can find it. Jimmy puts up the tidbit now. We kind of collaborate. That's a new thing on Instagram where we can collab, and Jimmy puts that up. It shows up on my page, his page, OSD page, but separate. Facebook as well. It goes up on Facebook. Monday, we are typical.
And YouTube as well, the tidbit.
The tidbit on YouTube. Okay, thank you. We are a typical podcast where you can listen to us on audio if you don't want to see our beautiful faces, which you're really missing out. But Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, ALEXA, and if you're over on Apple, by the way, leave us a review. We love hearing from you guys. You look like you want to say something.
Well, the podcast is on Monday. I didn't hear Monday in there.
Oh, I thought I said that, but maybe I didn't. I probably didn't.
We've been in a giddy mood the whole podcast, and so
we really have. All right, show us that beautiful book one more time.
But we're
please.
supposed to be in a good giddy mood because the One Step Deeper Journal, the foundation. See the glossy. See, I've got my lights shining on it. The glossy cover. It's beautiful, you guys. I might sleep with this tonight. I'm so proud of this book.
I'm ready to sleep with the plane.
And it's you'll have yours tomorrow. It's my 10th book, but your very, very first book, guys. So this is a special one for both of us. I hit double digits in books. Brittany is debuting her first of what she hopes is many books as well. So OneStepDeeperJournal.com will reserve your spot. Just give us your name and your email address. And as soon as it's available for purchase on Amazon, it will be in hardback. And in ebook, I believe is what it will be as well. So no audiobook. It's a journal. We want you to learn and absorb. It's kind of hard with all those lines on the page to do an audiobook. It's like, okay, answer this question. And then like 20 seconds or whatever of dead silence. No, that would just be weird. So work with us. And so One Step Deeper Journal, the foundations, go get it. But thank you guys for being here this week. Brittany, great episode. Really enjoyed this one as always. And we'll be back again next week. See you then.
All right. See y'all.
OneStepDeeperPodcast.com.
Did you go keto and thought you had to give up wine? Well, let me introduce you to Dry Farm Wines. It is the world's first sugar-free alcohol that is lower than your typical wines, organic, made at local farms that do it the right way. Most of the wines that you buy are from 3 really big companies, loaded with additives and preservatives, so many dozens of those kinds of things. You don't want all that junk in your wine. So go to dryfarmwines.com/Jimmy and they will ship you these wines. And just because you listen to this podcast, Dry Farm Wines is going to give you a bottle in your first order for just 1 cent. Go to dryfarmwines.com/Jimmy and you will get your bottle of wine for just 1 singular penny. Go check them out. Dry Farm Wines, you guys. It's wine o'clock somewhere. Let's go.
Have you experienced the dreaded keto flu? Did you know that most of these symptoms are actually due to your body dumping excess electrolytes? This is where Element comes in. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt with no sugar. Element is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited to folks following a keto, low-carb, or paleo diet. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium with none of the junk, no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS. Everyone needs electrolytes, especially those on low-carb diets, or if you practice intermittent or extended fasting, if you're physically active or sweat a lot. Add Element today and see how much better you feel and perform. Use the URL drinklmnt.com/Jimmy.